Hey guys, today in Art Club with Miss Burford, we are going to make a cube lantern. You will need felt tip pens, 2 A4 sheets of tracing paper, a pencil, scissors, 16 lollipop sticks, a ruler, a battery powered candle, a glue gun and a resource sheet. The only prep that you need for this lesson is to create a resource sheet like this one where I've done 4 stages of a caterpillar to a butterfly. So anything with 4 stages on it like seasons or the life cycle of humans you could do. To start with, you'll need your 2 sheets of tracing paper and your pencil and 4 of your lollipop sticks. With your lollipop sticks, lay them out into a square shape in the one corner of your tracing paper so you can then work out what size squares you're going to need on your tracing paper. So with your ruler, measure from the one edge of the lollipop stick on the further side, if that makes sense, to the other side, and then draw this square out onto your tracing paper. To make that a bit clearer, I measured from the outer edge of the lollipop stick on the left to the outer edge of the lollipop stick on the right, and then from the top to the bottom as well. I am actually marking out 2 squares on this sheet of tracing paper because in total we need 4 squares to create the cube, but you'll need 2 on your one sheet of tracing paper, and then in a moment we're going to trace over these squares on the other sheet of tracing paper. It's much easier to trace over the previous 2 squares that you've done because you want to try and make sure that these squares are as perfectly matched as possible in size. Next, you'll need your resource sheet so that you can draw one picture onto each square. So lay your resource sheet under the first square. So I'm going to start with the eggs for the first part of the life cycle. And I'm just going to trace these, and then on my next square I'm going to draw the caterpillar, and on my next square I'm going to draw the cocoon, and on the next square I'm going to draw the butterfly, etc. I also ended up drawing a circle around each image so that they would stand out a bit more when it comes to colouring it in, because I had an idea of what I was going to do for colouring in to make it a bit more stained glass like. Then you can colour in your images. You can use whatever felt tip pens you like. I just have a lot of Sharpies and only a few Crayolas, so I went ahead and used these, but both of them work perfectly fine. To create the stained glass effect around the edge of the circle, I just use a pencil and ruler to create geometric shapes between the circle and the edge of the paper, and then coloured in those different sections with 3 different shades of orange. When you've finished colouring, you can cut out your squares. Now you'll need to get 4 lollipop sticks per picture. So you have 16 lollipop sticks all together, and you want to lay them out like you did before, so it creates a square around your image. Glue down your lollipop sticks when you're happy with where they're positioned. I just want to point out that I'm gluing this on the top side of the image rather than underneath, and I'm using a cool glue gun so that children can use it too. Pop this to one side so that the glue has time to cool down and bond properly, and then repeat this on all 4 squares that you have. These then need to be laid out in a row so that they go in order from what comes first to last of the life cycle. On this next step, you have a choice. You can either glue down the one side of the lollipop stick and glue it straight to another one so they are very rigid together to create the cube, or you can do what I'm about to do, which allows you to fold the cube for flat storage. And I'm going to use some of the spare tracing paper, and I'm going to cut it into strips just slightly shorter than the length of the squares and just over the width of 2 lollipop sticks next to each other. You don't have to be too precise about the size of these, just make sure that they don't overhang the edges of the square so they can't be seen outside of the square. Lay your strips of tracing paper on the 2 adjoining lollipop sticks on 3 out of 4 of your images, as you can see on the screen in front of you. When you're happy with them, glue them into position. I just want to point out you need to make sure that your squares are all in a straight line, otherwise your cube is going to end up wonky at the end and not sit flat on a surface. When it comes to joining the first and last square together, you want to put a strip of glue down the last lollipop stick of your row, so on the edge of my butterfly one, and stick a strip of tracing paper on there. Then add a strip of glue to the very first lollipop of your picture sequence and bring that piece of tracing paper around to join this piece of glue so that your last picture and your first picture are now joined together. Leave this to dry so that the structure can be formed properly. Add a battery tea light, and that completes your 4 stages of the life of a caterpillar to a butterfly lantern. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more art lessons on a Monday and other art related videos every other Thursday. See you next week for more art with Miss